First up, executive producer Michael Narducci. Down at the end though. Next up, Leah Pipes. Please give a warm round of applause for Daniel Gillies. The lovely Phoebe Tonkin. Klaus himself, Joseph Morgan. Mr. Charles Michael Davis. Danielle Campbell. And last, but by no means least, executive producer and creator Julie Pleck. All right, welcome guys, welcome to Ballroom 20.
I love you, Klaus!
Michael, I want to start with you. We just watched that incredible trailer. When you sort of look at season 2 as a whole, what is the theme coming into this year? What are you guys trying to come out with?
I think we talked a lot about, the sins of the past coming to haunt us in the present. We talked about the return of family that we thought might be gone, who in fact has returned, as we saw in the final moments of season 1, Return of Esther, and what that might mean. And, in the room, Julie has talked a lot about wanting to incorporate a kind of dark, warped fairy tale component to this season. And if the first season was all about this harsh, gangster-like take down of the vampire factions in New Orleans, this is the season where our heroes are dealing with the return of their monstrous parents and what that means to them.
I mean, people who watch The Vampire Diaries know that's a bit of an understatement, calling Esther and Michael monsters. Pretty much the worst. Julie, the season premiere is titled Rebirth. Can you talk about that sort of in context of what we're going to see? Obviously it refers to hope and sort of where we left the end of last year.
Yeah, well, one of the things we like to do with our titles is we like to name each episode either a song lyric, a song title, a book title, or some kind of artist from actually the city of New Orleans. And so everything has a New Orleans context, and Rebirth, of course, is one of the most famous brass bands in New Orleans, and they were in our pilot. They did the second line parade, so it has double meaning. It's wanting to honor that, and then also just as you said, really, you kind of said it for me, thank you, the idea of people starting over after this grief that they all experienced, or at least that they have to both experience for real and then fake experience for the outside community. And it's, what's everybody doing and how will they begin again? Absolutely.
Joseph, when we return in season 2, where do we find Klaus? Where's his head at? I mean, he made a lot of big choices at the end of season 1. What excites you about what you've gotten to do so far with season 2?
Wow, there's a lot of you. I'm a little bit intimidated. Where do we find him? We find him, he's locked himself away in the compound. He's like a caged animal waiting to make his move, to seek revenge on those who contributed to the sending away of his daughter. He's been doing a lot of painting, which, as we learned from him before, is a metaphor for control. So he's trying to sort of control his situation and control his emotions, and he's failing to control his emotions. And so we're going to see quite quickly into season 2 how Klaus seeks violent, bloody, merciless revenge on and that, in fact, is what has excited me most about season 2.
Violent, bloody revenge. I love it. Charles, where does Marcel fall in all of that? We saw him sort of kiss the ring at the end of last season. He seems to be back on Team Klaus. Is that sort of the least...
I wouldn't go there.
Come on. I was going to say, is that like the least easy alliance in the history of television?
The least easy? I think so. I don't know. I like working with this guy, so I hope the characters can get back to a point where they're working together as a team. But yeah, it was a humbling experience.
Where's Marcel's head at? Does he feel like he's going to use Klaus until he no longer needs Klaus, and then he's maybe going to take his quarterback?
Yeah, he's a vampire, so he's got all eternity. I think he's going to use his time to work on his patience. You like that?
And your karaoke.
And my karaoke skills. There's many hobbies and things that Marcel really wants to get into, and now he finally has the free time. So in a way, I guess it's a blessing.
Did you a favor, see?
Yeah, he's always looking out for me, this guy. Yeah.
I love that. Now, Phoebe, obviously one of the big changes between last season and this season, no more baby bump. Did you have sort of a bon voyage for the prosthetic tummy?
A little bit. I was kind of wanting to burn that baby bump by the end. It got very big and very uncomfortable. I think I had that bump on for like a full term. I could have actually been pregnant. It was on for 9 months, that baby bump. But you know, it was kind of sad. Now it kind of became like part of the way that I walked and how I kind of acted, and you know, it was kind of sad now that I don't have it. I've got nowhere to hide my phone or my glasses or anything.
How many things could you fit in the bump at a given time?
I could fit a book, my glasses, my phone, and sometimes like a hot water bottle if it's cold.
It's amazing.
Big bump.
I mean, obviously that's not the only difference. She's now a hybrid, which is crazy and exciting. What are you stoked for the fans to see with this sort of newer, more vicious Haley?
I mean, I think what's really cool is that, I mean, there's really no handbook for, you know, vampire, werewolves, and especially for hybrids. And Haley really looks to Klaus for guidance, you know, and that's what we kind of find in the second season, that relationship and that dynamic between the two of them. It's not really romantic. She kind of looks at Klaus as a bit of a mentor, and there's some really lovely scenes where Klaus is literally like guiding her step by step with like vamp hearing and vamp smell and things that Haley just didn't know anything about. And it's kind of fun to kind of look at it like that, you know, you kind of have to start from like, you know, can't speak English. You know, start from, you know, the beginning, work it all out, and then kind of working it out together a little bit. It's nice.
I was going to say, Julie, you know, I feel like from the moment you introduced her on Vampire Diaries, I feel like Haley's gone on the biggest journey maybe at this point. What are you sort of excited to be able to write for that character now that maybe you couldn't before?
You know, one of the best things about Haley, and it sort of curses her the most, is that when we met her in the Vampire Diaries, in spite of all her machinations and what she was doing, and you know, her deep-rooted agenda was she just wanted answers about her family and where she came from, and she got those answers. It brought her to New Orleans. It got her into this little mess with Klaus that turned into kind of this beautiful blessing. And at the end of it all, after rallying the werewolves around her, drawing her family together, being part of this extended Michelson family, and giving birth to her own child, she had to lose all of it.
Yeah.
You know, so what do? You're a mother without your child. You were a Michelson who can't really accept where you fit in that family, and you were a prideful werewolf who now is, you know, a hybrid, which is the one thing that they probably despise more than vampires. So she doesn't have a place, and watching her try to find her own sense of strength and her own place in this universe it's going to be a beautiful, powerful journey for her, I hope.
I'm just like, tell me more. Daniel, now last hold for screaming. Last season, I thought one of the most amazing things to sort of come out of Elijah's role on the show was the very nurturing relationship with Haley that I think a lot of people came to care for. And, you know, I think there's always a lot of conversations about, oh, is this a love triangle? Is this an emotional bond? I mean, I feel like, do you just want to sort of put the story to rest? Is this sort of, now that they have this shared connection, is it sort of moved beyond the love triangle and it's just something more complicated?
I mean, it's exciting to me still. I mean, especially now that there's this sort of necessary restraint, like, you know, in fabricating this illusion of like we've lost a child, they've been holed up in this place for, you know, 2 to 3 months, and I think that there's, I mean, goodness knows what that had to have been like with the malevolence of Klaus and kind of the restraint of Elijah, kind of wanting to exact his revenge somewhere down the road, and Haley somewhere in the middle of that. And also, I think that Elijah would observe a degree of distance to give Haley her dignity, you know? I mean, I love anything parlor room drama like that. I want to see them sort of continue. I want to see what emerges and blossoms from that. You know, I think that I mean, first of all, I just love acting with her. She's just amazing. She is. She's amazing, and I want to see, you know, what becomes of that.
Absolutely.
You know, I know I've definitely gone on record as saying I'm confused. That I don't want that to be distorted into I don't want anything to happen.
Certainly. Is there anything you'd like to add to sort of that conversation, Julie?
God, no, never.
Perfect. I would love to now move on to Leah, if I could. Cammy was somebody who, over the course of season 1, learned a lot.
Yeah.
And then was compelled to forget a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then learned some more and forgot some more. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of learning and forgetting.
Yeah, I was learning and forgetting for Cammy, season 1.
Right.
But now that she knows, she's on Vervain, she's got her stuff together, and she's like, I'm getting out of here, you guys are crazy. I'm gonna be a human and remove myself from New Orleans, but she's really attracted to great bone structure, unfortunately.